happened to you?
First, they bound her. Then they ripped out her tongue, poisoned her, paralyzed her, forced her to swallow the cloth.
What is that?
What if The Quietest Body could tell the loudest story? The Autopsy of Jane Doe is one of those rare horror films that doesn't just rely on blood or jump scares. It builds a creeping sense of dread out of silence, mystery, and the unknown. It begins not with chaos or monsters, but with the arrival of a nameless corpse, unmarked, serene, and yet impossibly unsettling. That's the beauty of this movie. It lures you into its world with simplicity, then slowly unravels a nightmare that feels both intimate and cosmic. The story centers on a small-town father and son coroner team, Tommy and Austin Tilden, who are asked to perform a late-night autopsy on an unidentified young woman found at the scene of a mysterious crime. The police need quick answers, but from the moment the body arrives at their underground morgue, nothing seems to add up. On the surface, she looks almost perfectly preserved. No bruises, no wounds, no decay. Yet, as they peel back the layers, both literally and metaphorically, they discover that this woman's body tells a story far stranger than they could have imagined. At first, the film feels like a procedural, two professionals calmly doing their work, examining the body step by step. But the deeper they go, the more contradictions they encounter. Her bones are shattered, her lungs are burned, her organs show signs of ritualistic trauma. And yet, her skin remains flawless, untouched by any external wound. This contradiction is one of the film's most fascinating elements. It forces both the characters and us as viewers to question the limits of science when confronted with something unexplainable. What makes this movie so gripping is the way it transitions from a clinical examination to a supernatural mystery without breaking its grounded tone. The father, experienced and skeptical, approaches the autopsy with routine professionalism, while the son, torn between duty and a desire for a different life, becomes more sensitive to the strange atmosphere creeping through the morgue. This dynamic adds depth. It's not just a horror story, but also a generational one about tradition, rationality, and the cost of ignoring intuition. As the night deepens, strange occurrences begin, whispers in the halls, doors closing on their own, shadows lurking just beyond sight. The film cleverly plays with claustrophobia, trapping both its characters and audience in this single, suffocating setting. Every flicker of light and every unexplained sound adds to the mounting tension. And while many horror films show the threat outright, The Autopsy of Jane Doe thrives in suggestion, letting the body itself become the central enigma. The deeper symbolism of Jane Doe is perhaps what elevates the film beyond a standard horror mystery. She represents silence, women throughout history who have been victims, erased, unnamed, and left without voice. Her body becomes a canvas of hidden violence, rituals of suffering inflicted without visible scars. In this sense, the movie can be read as an allegory about the invisible weight of trauma, especially the kind that lingers beneath a flawless exterior. The film asks, what stories do the dead still carry, and what does it cost the living to uncover them? The ending, without giving away too much, shifts from pure mystery into something that feels almost inevitable, even tragic. The morgue becomes less a place of science and more a tomb of fate, where the living must reckon with forces beyond their control. And while the movie doesn't offer clear explanations for every detail, something that might frustrate those seeking a tidy answer, it stays true to its theme. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. Some horrors cannot be dissected under bright lights. What lingers after the credits is not just the fear, but the atmosphere, the memory of that cold, still body, and the way it unraveled everything around it. It's the kind of film that doesn't just shock you, but stays with you, urging you to think about what it all meant. Was Jane Doe a victim of cruelty, a vessel of something darker, or both? The film refuses to hand you the answer, instead leaving a haunting ambiguity that makes it all the more memorable. The Autopsy of Jane Doe stands as one of the best examples of elevated horror, a story that merges genre thrills with deeper symbolic weight. It proves that horror doesn't need sprawling settings or elaborate effects to unsettle. Sometimes all it takes is a body on a table, a scalpel, and the courage to look closer. For first-time viewers, It's a chilling mystery that grips you with every revelation. For revisitors, it's an opportunity to notice the subtle details, the shifts in tone, the foreshadowing, the hidden commentary on history and silence. Ultimately, this is a film about discovery and about the danger of digging too deep. The morgue is just the stage, the autopsy just the process. The real story lies in what Jane Doe represents: the past, pain unspoken, the unexplainable truths that science can't contain. And that is why the movie continues to haunt audiences years after its release. So, if you're looking for a horror film that's not just frightening but thought-provoking, that grips you with mystery while unsettling you with atmosphere, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is one that deserves to be watched, rewatched, and remembered. Because sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that remain unsolved. I hope you enjoyed this quick cinematic dive. Want to witness more of the silver screen brilliance? Then make sure to check back at Watch That Film.